Hey y'all, good morning. Good morning, or good afternoon, I should say. It's 12 o'clock, I should know that. Tuesdays at 12, you will meet me here. Tuesdays at 12 for Faith in Politics. We are here to deliver all of the information you did not know you needed. We're going to give a little time for people to pop on, and while they do, I'll give a little bit of housekeeping and a little bit of information. Welcome to Faith in Politics with me, Eileen. We're going to have an interesting day today. We are going to be talking about the three branches of government. And there was also a very interesting article in NOLA.com. There was a group of community members that put together a poll saying that, basically asking the residents their faith level in government. And as we know, it was very small and dismal. So I think that's something that we all knew, but now I guess more people are on board with what we were talking about in 2022. So welcome to the party. We're excited to have everybody. For you all joining in, welcome to Faith in Politics with me, Eileen. I talk about faith and I talk about politics because I believe we lost our faith in politics. We don't have as many people participating in the process, and I feel like if we are able to share information and really understand who does what, we can hold our leaders and our community more accountable for our needs. So with that being said, if you'd like to join Faith in Politics, you can do it now right on your phone. I tried to make this really easy for people because, long story short, I worked in the communications department for the city of New Orleans for 3 years. And what I saw was that people just don't have the information. They think they know, and what y'all don't know is residents are like 2 years behind. So I hope that you would love to join this, and you can do that by texting the word join and your email to 504-399-4380. That's text join, the word join, and your email to 504-399-4380. We have a live podcast every Tuesday at 12, which is what you're watching now. You can catch us live on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. You can also listen to us everywhere that you podcast, from Apple to Spotify, from iHeartMusic. If you are on Facebook or LinkedIn, the night before our shows, I drop the link so that you can, just hit and listen. So we're everywhere that you are. You just have to tap in. If you missed a show, you can always go back and listen. I have, this is episode 23. So at the beginning will be my prophecy since like 2021. But the last four podcasts are specifically on New Orleans politics. And I probably say more than I should have been saying, but I just let it out and I give y'all the information and y'all can do with it what you please. So if anyone is interested and they have any questions for me, you want to partner, concerns, community solutions, we're always looking for solutions. Please email us at faithandpoliticstoday@gmail.com, faithandpoliticstoday@gmail.com. So, and last but not least, before I jump into this, I just want to encourage everyone to register to vote. We don't really have large percentage of the population that goes out and vote in New Orleans, and we really, really, really need to get people involved. So if you have an address change, or you want to change your party, or you just want to check on where your polling place is, you can go online at sos.la.gov. That is sos.la.gov. And if you need to change any of that information, all you need to have is an updated Louisiana ID. It doesn't have to be a driver's license, as long as it's an ID. The information on there, they'll ask you for a code, and then you can change your information. So make sure that your voter information is going to the correct email address. Y'all, we need to make sure we got that. What I learned during, my process was that we have a lot of people who have their information going to the wrong places. So if we could get that together, we'd be a stronger community. Okay, now I think I've had time for people to jump on. Let's jump into this. Y'all, oh my gosh. So while listening to the residents this week, so last week's conversation was See Something, Say Something. And what we did was we brought up the list that we talked about in 2022, the recall residents, which was made up of libertarians, no party, Green Party, independent, Republican, Democrat, y'all, it was all of us. We put together a list of things that we were concerned about. And so we put it out there. And so last week we said, see something, say something. And so after talking to the community about that, I really came to see that a lot of people, or a handful of people, think that the governor is the mayor's boss. And I was like, And I was like, but the governor isn't the mayor's boss. And I was like, okay, well, there's confusion there. So that was one thing. And then the second part was that people are getting the information confused with what the mayor is supposed to be doing with what the city council is supposed to be doing. Now, the mayor and the governor are both the executive branch, but the mayor is the head of the city and the governor is the head of the state. Now, I'll be getting down to all of their duties in a minute. And with regard to the city council does not lead any department. The mayor leads every department in the city of New Orleans. The city council holds the purse strings of the departments. It does not run the departments. So we really need to understand the separations between these so that we can have better conversations and move this forward in the community. So here we go, y'all. Let me jump in. So the government in New Orleans operates under a system that mirrors the structure of the United States government with three primary branches. And I'm sure y'all have heard about this: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branches. So these branches work together to ensure proper functioning in the city. So the executive branch is responsible for enforcing the laws and administering the day-to-day operations of the city. So who is that? The head of the executive branch in New Orleans is the mayor, who is elected by the people of the city. So who is the mayor's boss? The mayor's boss is the people of the city of New Orleans, right? So for clarity, the mayor has significant authority, including overseeing city departments, implementing policies, managing budgets, and ensuring that laws are followed. The mayor is supported by various city departments and agencies, each responsible for specific functions like public safety, transportation, health, etc. And we'll get into all of those in a little bit. I'm just giving you like short versions now. The legislative branch. The legislative branch in New Orleans is composed of the city council, which functions similarly to the state or federal legislatures, like Congress. So the city council is responsible for making laws, ordinances, and policies affecting the city and holds the purse strings of the city and approves the budget. The city council also regulates our utilities in New Orleans. The council is made up of 7 members who represent different districts in New Orleans, one of whom the member serves as the council president. So the 2 at-large members, every other year, they switch to who is the council president. That's why you have seen at some point J.P. Morrell has been the council president. He's the council president right now. Last year, Helena Moreno was the council president. So every year they have switched who has been the council president. So that's why you've seen certain things happening at certain times, because maybe JP has been more aggressive in this area or Helena has been more concerned about this area. You will see what's going on by who is the council president at that time. So that's something to know. And the third branch is the judicial branch. So the judicial branch interprets the laws and ensures that they are applied fairly. So in New Orleans, the judicial system includes a variety of courts that handle both civil and criminal cases. The most significant of these courts is, of course, Orleans Parish Criminal District Court and the Orleans Parish Civic District Court. So Civil District Court, sorry. And these courts are responsible for adjudicating criminal and civil cases within the city. Judges in these courts are elected, so we are their bosses again, are elected and responsible for ensuring that the law is followed in each case brought before them. The judicial branch also includes various specialized courts such as family courts, juvenile courts designed to handle specific types of legal matters. And if y'all didn't know, there is a legal area in the bottom of the civil district court where if you are having any issues, that there is like a help desk. So there is options in New Orleans that if you don't have the funds, there is a help desk and they do help you with certain things. So if you didn't know that, you should know that, because you never know what type of stuff you come into. So you always have an option there. So with that being said, all of these branches form a system of checks and balances. But what the difference is in New Orleans is New Orleans has a strong mayor system, which is a little bit different than, certain other parishes or counties or things like that. Just to give you an example, how New Orleans is different from Jefferson Parish, right? Jefferson Parish is not a city. They have a government and they have a board that leads them, so they don't have a mayor per se, which is different from New Orleans. So that's how you can see how 2 different municipalities are run. So let's jump into the executive branch now that you've kind of understood the background. because when I was having these conversations this week, people really were arguing points because they felt like the governor is the mayor's boss and that the mayor is not responsible for these things and the governor is supposed to do it. And I was like, hold up. That's not how this works. So that's what led to this. So the governor of Louisiana and the mayor of New Orleans have distinct but important roles in their respective jurisdictions. While both hold executive authority, their responsibilities differ significantly based on the level of government they operate within. The governor is the chief executive for the entire state of Louisiana, while the mayor serves as the executive for the city of New Orleans. So I'm going to give you a comparison of some of these responsibilities. And I'm reading these because I really took my time to go one by one through them so that I can give y'all clear information that y'all can take back. So you can, run this back whenever you want to, share with family or friends or whatever works for you. But executive authority. The mayor is the chief executive of the city, responsible for ensuring that the laws, ordinances, and regulations passed by the city council. You got that? So the mayor ensures that the laws passed by the city council are enforced. The mayor also has the authority to issue executive orders to manage day-to-day operations of the city. Now, these are going to be some short ones as well. The mayor does budget preparation. One of the key duties of the mayor is to prepare the city's annual budget. This includes allocating funds to various departments, services, and projects with an emphasis on balancing the city's financial resources and needs. The mayor submits the proposed budget to the city council, which has the authority to approve, amend, and reject it. The mayor oversees the administrative functions of the city government. Here you go, y'all. The mayor oversees the administrative functions of the city government, including the operation of various city departments, agencies, and bureaus and commissions. The mayor appoints the head of the departments. Now it is subject to city council confirmation. That was not always the case. That has now been the case for, I believe, the past 2 years because the residents felt like the mayor was just doing any kind of thing and wanted to put some buffers because, people kind of felt like she was going rogue in some of her picks. So that's how that happened. Next, the mayor oversees the administrative functions of the city and government, including the operations of various city governments. Oh, we said that. Sorry. Public safety. Here's next, y'all. This is one that people really need to understand because, okay, the mayor is responsible for the overall public safety of the city, including the management of the New Orleans Police Department, the New Orleans Fire Department, the EMS, Homeland Security, and the list goes on. The mayor works with law enforcement to ensure the protection of citizens and the enforcement of city laws. So if you see that laws aren't being enforced in the city of New Orleans, like some code enforcement things, like stuff like that, or whatever it may be, our concerns go to the NOPD or let's say the permitting office, those people who would enforce those laws, and then it would be the mayor because she is their boss. Emergency management. In the event of an emergency or disaster, such as a hurricane, terrorist attack, the mayor plays a critical role in coordinating the city's emergency response. This includes with federal, state, and local agencies, as well as providing leadership for evacuation, relief efforts, and recovery operations. Now, the legislative influence that the mayor has. The mayor works closely, we're supposed to, with the New Orleans City Council to propose and advocate for legislation. So the mayor doesn't make laws, but she can advocate for new legislation to be passed. So while the City Council has the authority to pass laws, the mayor can influence the legislative process through proposals, vetoes, and recommendations. So if the City Council passes something, the mayor has the ability to veto it. But the city council can then double veto her if they have a 2/3 majority. So we need to understand that as well. So the mayor has the authority to veto any ordinance passed by the city council, though the veto can be overridden, like I said, with 2/3 majority of the council. So this gives the mayor a significant role in shaping the city's laws. Next, the mayor has the power to appoint city officials, including the heads of various departments, commissions, and boards. throughout the entire city. These appointments are generally subject to confirmation by the city council, some but not all. The mayor may also appoint citizens to advisory bodies and can help inform policy decisions. So yeah, they can make advisory bodies and advisory, that can't be paid, but to help make policy decisions, to hear what the residents want so we can move forward. The mayor has that ability. The mayor represents the city at both the local and national levels, advocating for New Orleans' interest in dealing with the state and federal governments. The mayor may also work with private sector entities, nonprofits, and community groups to advance the city's goals. As the public face of the city, the mayor plays an important role in communicating with residents. Did I say that? As the public face of the city, the mayor plays an important role in communicating with the residents, the media, and other stakeholders. The mayor is often responsible for delivering speeches, addressing public concerns, and promoting the city to attract business, tourists, and investments. So if you have not seen that happening, it is the mayor's responsibility. The mayor appoints the chief of police, and this appointment is typically subject to the confirmation of the city council. It is now. The mayor also appoints other high-ranking city officials, such as heads of departments, which are critical to run city services. So these people, their boss is the mayor. All these people you see on TV that are like this department and this department and this department, their boss is the mayor. And finally, the mayor is authorized to sign contracts and agreements on behalf of the city, including those related to construction services, economic development, sanitation, suits that are in, people who are suing us, and we know what's going on with the school board, and that's why I said that. These agreements must align with the budget and policies approved by the city council. All of that is important because of what's going on. So these responsibilities reflect the mayor's crucial role in managing New Orleans' day-to-day operations and ensuring that the city's infrastructure, safety, and services function smoothly for residents and visitors. The mayor's powers and duties are extensive, but they are balanced by the checks and balances provided by the legislative and judicial branches of the city government. Yet, New Orleans has a strong mayor system of government, which gives the mayor more power than most people think. And with that being said, if there is a void in power or a void in the executive branch in New Orleans by it being a strong mayor system, we're in a tough situation if that mayor isn't doing the job. So, the key differences between the governor and the mayor's responsibilities. The governor has authority over the entire state of Louisiana, while the mayor governs only New Orleans, which is a single city within the state. The governor sets statewide policies, including state economic development, education, health, and law enforcement. The mayor is focused on local issues within New Orleans, such as public safety, city services, local economic development, and managing the city's budget. So remember, you're seeing in the news that they're saying that this administration has just said that New Orleans is one step from bankruptcy. So if New Orleans is one step from bankruptcy, who's been managing the city's budget? The mayor. Okay. Next, the governor has statewide authority and can deploy the Louisiana National Guard and direct state-level responses to disasters. The mayor focuses on city-level emergency management, including local coordination with the state and federal governments. The governor appoints high-level state officials and board members. The mayor appoints city officials and department heads, often subject to city council confirmation, and that's new, remember. The governor has substantial influence over state laws as they propose bills and veto state legislation. The mayor influences local laws by proposing ordinances and vetoing city council decisions. So that is the difference between the mayor and the governor. There was a lot of confusion in this past week when we were talking about the last topic with see something, say something. So I want to be very clear that the mayor and the governor have two separate roles, and the governor is not the mayor's boss. And the city council has distinct roles, and their roles and the mayor's roles do not coincide. They each have their own lane. So the responsibilities of the government. I'm going to go over this quickly because I think you all kind of get where I'm going with that, of what the mayor is responsible for and what the governor is responsible for and how they are separate. But the governor is the head of the executive branch of the state and is responsible for overseeing the administration of state laws and policies. The governor ensures that the laws passed by the Louisiana state legislature are enforced across the state. So the governor sets overall policy agenda for the state, proposing new laws, guiding economic, education, healthcare policies, and advocating for key initiatives such as infrastructure, environmental regulations, public safety at the state level. The governor prepares a state budget proposing how state revenues should be allocated across various departments. But the budget must be approved by the state legislature, but the governor has significant influence over its content and priorities. As the state's highest ranking official, the governor represents Louisiana in relations with the federal government and states and foreign nations. This includes lobbying for federal funds and advocating for state interests and promoting Louisiana's economic development and cultural interests. So this is why you see the governor with a focus on New Orleans right now. This governor has been in for a little bit over a year, right? And so when he came in, New Orleans was number one in the nation with crime. So therefore, as the highest ranking official, he had full authority to do like, hey, New Orleans, we have an issue, because the governor oversees the Louisiana State Police and works with local law enforcement to maintain order and enforce state laws. The governor can also call the National Guard to respond to emergencies, national disasters, and civil unrest. The governor appoints key state officials, including members of the Louisiana State Cabinet, agency heads, and judges for various state courts. The governor also has the power to appoint members to boards and commissions that regulate different areas of state government. The governor plays a critical role in responding to statewide emergencies such as natural disasters, hurricanes, flood, etc., which is why you saw the governor here for the terrorist attack. That's why you saw him. Veto power. The governor has the power to veto laws passed by the Louisiana legislature, and the legislature can override a veto with 2/3 majority vote, but the governor's veto power provides a check on legislative actions. Pardons and commutations. The governor has authority to grant pardons and commutations to individuals convicted of crimes in Louisiana, subject to review by the Board of Pardons. The governor also proposes bills in the state legislature, advocates for policy changes, and can call special sessions of the legislature to address urgent matters. And we've seen that. The governor also has a direct role in signing bills into law or vetoing them. So now you have gotten to hear what the mayor does and what the governor does. And in between, I gave you the crosses between them. This is what the mayor does. This is what the governor does. So we all understand that, yes, they are in the executive branch, but they have distinct responsibilities. The mayor is the executive branch and the executive officer for the city of New Orleans, and the governor plays that role for the state. The governor is not the mayor's boss. Now, with that being said, there was also a lot of intermixing of the responsibilities of the mayor and the city council. So now I gave you the mayor, let's give you the city council. These are the responsibilities of the city council, and this is what they do. The New Orleans City Council is outlined in the New Orleans City Charter. It serves as the legislative branch of the city government with a range of important responsibilities aimed at representing the public, passing laws, and overseeing the functioning of the city. Here are the key responsibilities of the City Council per the City Charter. So the City Council has the power to enact laws, ordinances, and resolutions that affect the city. This includes regulating various aspects of city life, such as public safety, zoning, business licensing, and public services. The council is responsible for creating and amending ordinances that govern the city's functioning, ensuring the proper legal framework for policies affecting citizens and businesses. So they're making the laws, ordinances, and resolutions. Who is supposed to make sure that they are carried out? The mayor and her departments. The City Council also plays a critical role in reviewing, amending, and approving the city's annual budget. The budget proposal is submitted by the mayor, but the City Council holds hearings and has the authority to make adjustments or rejects parts of the budget before it is finalized. The council ensures that public funds are allocated responsibly across city departments, services, and projects, and that the spending aligns with the needs and priorities of the residents. So that's what you saw at the end of the year. At the end of every year, the mayor submits a budget. Then they go through hearings, and that's what you saw at the end of the year. Then they have to amend. Then the city council goes and amends stuff. Says, "Oh, we want to give more money here. We're going to take some money here. We're gonna reallocate. This is what we're going to do." And then they finalize the budget for the next year. This is a new. This is something new for the city council, but the city council is now responsible for confirming appointments made by the mayor to key positions in the city government. This includes the heads of city departments, boards, and commissions such as the police chief, the fire chief, and city attorney. City council approval is required for these appointments, ensuring that the mayor's choices are in line with the city's oversight. And as you know, this was something that was put on the ballot a couple years ago, so that is something new. Residents felt like the mayor wasn't doing what was required of them in that office, and so the residents said, "Hey, we want to put this on a ballot and put some more teeth into this," because they didn't feel like the mayor's decisions were reflecting the city. The city council is responsible for monitoring and overseeing the operations of the city council holds public hearings to discuss city matters, investigate issues, and receive reports from various city departments. They may hold special sessions to address urgent issues, and they can require city officials to testify before the council. So in those ways, they can ensure that the departments are functioning effectively and are in compliance with city laws and policies. So they can, call them in and hold them to task. Never mind. I was going to go sideways for a second, but we're going to keep this straight. The city council has the power to pass resolutions, which are formal expressions of opinion and decisions on specific issues. Resolutions are often used to express the council's stance on matters affecting the city, such as advocating for policies or addressing public concerns. Veto override. The city council can override the mayor's veto of an ordinance or resolution. To override the veto, the council must pass the ordinance or resolution again with a 2/3 majority vote. And this gives the city council a check on the executive power of the mayor. And we saw this happen with, actually during the recall with the removal of Miss Hester and the whole debacle at Hano. And so I'm not going to go sideways with that conversation, but the city council has used their veto power recently to actually save a resident that the mayor was removing from her community position at Hano, which is wild, but it's a whole nother conversation. The city council is responsible for approving changes to the zoning laws and land use regulations within New Orleans. So this includes the authority to approve or deny rezoning requests, variances, and special permits for businesses or developers seeking to use land in specific ways. This responsibility ensures that urban planning aligns with the city's growth and the public's best interests, balancing development with community needs. And the legislative representation. So the city council represents the constituents of New Orleans. So they represent you by addressing the residents' concerns and bringing the concerns. We bring our concerns to the council, and then the council will go to the departments and say, "Hey, my resident needs my constituent needs A, B, and C." So when the council member or their representative goes to a department, let's just say you're having an issue with the libraries. And so you're like, "My library in my neighborhood isn't open." So you go to your city council member and their representative, you let them know your situation, and then they go to the libraries and they say, "Hey, my resident is having ABC problem." Well, that department head's boss is still the mayor, no matter what department you go to. So that's important information as you're going through this, because if the mayor and the city council member aren't seeing eye to eye, and the mayor is in conflict with the city council member, or the city council member is in conflict with the mayor, you may not see resources funneling down to your neighborhoods because of retaliation. And I'm just being very direct about it because it 100% happens. The council organizes public hearings. So the council organizes public hearings to engage with residents and gather input on proposed legislation, budget matters, and city policy. So they want to hear from y'all so they can enact laws to create these things, or go to and be a representative for you to the department. This encourages department participation in the governance process, allowing citizens to voice their opinions on important issues. The council's legislative functions are conducted transparently, and public participation is an important aspect of their work. Now, this is where I feel like there's a breakdown in New Orleans city government, because if I believe, for me, that a department representative for all of these matters should be there listening as well, because if there isn't, and if there's a gap in understanding because of retaliation or something like that, it's just not going to move the way that we need it to move. And we can just look at the city of New Orleans and you know that I'm telling the truth, because it has not been moving the way that we want it to move due to personalities. And I'll leave it like that. The city council has the authority to approve contracts and agreements that the city enters into, including those related to major construction projects, services, and public-private partnerships. Contracts that involve significant spending or long-term commitments typically require city council approval, providing an additional layer of oversight. So the mayor's office can create contracts and things like that to move city business. She's supposed to, or that position is supposed to, sign the contracts for the city. Now, the city council is supposed to approve the contracts, especially if they're over certain amounts. So the mayor has authority, and I can't go with each situation because it may be different, but the mayor has the authority to spend as up to this cap. And when it goes above that, then they're supposed to ask and get the approval from the city council. That's how things are supposed to go. Now, with regard to some things that have happened recently, that hasn't gone in the right processes and things like that. And that's why you are seeing the council and the mayor go back and forth, because there's been contracts and things that have been done that the council say were out of the mayor's purview, and she couldn't sign that without their approval. So there's a lot of that going on. So the city council also plays a role in representing New Orleans in matter that involves state and federal interactions. So this is really important. So this is why you see a lot of the city council members, having worked with the state legislators, especially with regard to the Sewage and Water Board, because the Sewage and Water Board is a state entity, right? And the mayor is the head of the board, though. Like, we cannot forget that. The mayor is the head of the board for Sewage and Water Board. So if anyone was wondering about your bills and what's been going on all these years, for the past, we have one more year left. So for the past 7 years, this administration, the head of the Sewage and Water Board, has been Mayor Cantrell. So if you have any issues and stuff hasn't been fixed, all of your, our water issues and, boil water advisories, all this stuff, the mayor. Okay. The city council has the authority to propose amendments to the city charter, which is the foundational legal document governing New Orleans. While some changes require voter approval, the city council may initiate the process for charter amendments that reflect the evolving needs of the city. So in summary, the New Orleans City Council serves as the legislative body that creates laws, approves the budget, oversees the actions of the executive branch, and represents the interests of the city's residents. It's responsible for ensuring that city government is accountable, transparent, and responsive to the needs of the community, all while balancing the mayor's executive power. So I'm sure you wanted that. And last but not least, the judicial branch. And so there's been a lot of talk with this of what's going on in New Orleans with the DA and our attorney general and things like that. So I'm going to give you kind of the run through of the judicial branch as well. The judicial branch of New Orleans plays a crucial role in the city's legal system by interpreting and applying the law. Now, who wrote the laws? remember, who wrote the laws? The city council writes the law, but the mayor can also request that certain laws are put into effect and encourage them to be passed. So the judicial branch is responsible for resolving legal disputes between individuals, businesses, government entities, and other organizations within the city. Courts hear a wide variety of cases, including criminal, civil, family, and probate matters. Judges interpret the law and issue rulings based on legal principles, facts, and evidence presented in court. The judicial system in New Orleans is responsible for overseeing criminal cases, including those involving violations of state and city laws, such as theft, assault, drug offenses, and other crimes. New Orleans Parish Criminal District Court is the primary court that handles felony and misdemeanor cases. Judges in this court make determinations of guilt or innocence, issue sentences, and ensure that defendants receive fair trials. New Orleans courts handle a wide range of civil cases such as contract disputes, personal injury claims, property disputes, and other non-criminal matters. Orleans Parish Civil District Court handles most civil cases within the city, including those related to torts, real estate, family matters like divorce and custody, and more. The judicial branch handles family law cases such as divorce, child custody, adoption, and child support, often in specialized court like the Orleans Parish Family Court. For minors, the Orleans Parish Juvenile Court addresses issues related to juvenile delinquency, child welfare, dependency cases, etc. The court works to ensure the welfare of children and ensure appropriate rehabilitation or care. Courts in New Orleans also handle probate matters, including those related to the distribution of estates and appointment of executors or administrators following a person's death. The New Orleans Parish Probate Court manages cases involving wills, trusts, and guardianships for minors and incapacitated adults. Judges in the judicial branch have responsibility of interpreting both local ordinances passed by the New Orleans City Council and state laws. This includes making rulings based on Louisiana state constitution, federal laws, and precedent established by prior court decisions. In some cases, judges may have to interpret how local laws apply in a specific case, providing clarity and ensuring fair application of justice. And why this is important right now is because we have a lot of the city council suing the mayor. So in more than one instance, we have had the Smart Cities debacle, we have the Wisner Fund, we have the school board situation right now. So we have a lot of situations right now where the city council or the mayor are in court between, things for us. And honestly, for it to get to this point, it's really just shows a lot about who's doing what and what's happening. So I really hope that you all are paying attention to this. I'm not going to go through the whole judicial points because that wasn't really what you all were asking for. So I'm just going to kind of give you the summary again. The judicial branch of New Orleans plays a vital role in ensuring that laws are interpreted and enforced fairly. It resolves disputes, ensures justice in criminal, civil, and family matters, provides oversight of legal actions, and guarantees the rights of individuals are protected under the law. Through various specialized courts, the judicial branch in New Orleans ensures that legal proceedings are conducted according to the rule of law, from local ordinances to state and federal law, and that justice is served for all citizens. So with that, I hope I gave you enough information to understand and have clarity between the governor, the mayor, and the city council. And I threw in the judicial branch just for good measure so that y'all can have a breakdown of all three branches of government. But what have we learned? That the governor is not the mayor's boss. The residents are the mayor's boss. The city council, they do not lead any department. They do have oversight of the departments, but they do not lead the department. The city council is not the boss of the department. The mayor is the boss of the head of the department. And the mayor leads all departments. Hard stop. So with all that being said, I wanted to jump into the article that was in NOLA.com, which I think is so interesting. So y'all, there's this article. It was written by Ron And wait, let me scroll to the top of it. It was a survey, and I wanted to put this. It was a survey by the City Services Coalition, because y'all know I read and like to click, and I'm gonna read for you because everybody doesn't read and click when they read these things. So it says, despite Super Bowl success, frustration with New Orleans government runs deep. And I'm like, really? You needed a poll for that? We actually told you that in 2022. And guess what, y'all? There was a poll done in 2022. And I believe another one in 23 or 24 done by Ed Shervanack with UNO. We've been knowing this, and it's just deepened. So with that being said, I'm going to give you the names of the committee who put together this poll, and then let's talk about the poll. So a recent survey of New Orleans voters sponsored by the City Services Coalition, a diverse group of citizens, let's see who they are, who've come together to reform city government. So this group of people came together to reform city government, and let's see what their poll says. The poll was conducted December 16th to 21st of 2024 and was based on a sample of 600 voters. So this is the coalition of residents who have put this poll forward. Justin Augustine, Sidney Bartholomew, CJ Blash, Lambert Bossier, Carlin Connor, Richard Cortezes, Tiffany Delcour, Rep. Amy Freeman, Peter Gardner, Press Kabakoff, Henry Tut Kinney, Jay Lappery, y'all, if I mess up their name, I'm sorry. Tom Leonard, David Marcello, John Pouchot, Will Snowden, Gary Solomon, Errol Williams, Sharonda Williams, Andrew Wisdom, Olivia Woolham, and Carl Zervagon. So with that being said, so these are the leaders that have put forth this poll. My only 2 cents to these leaders would be, I would ask you all to reach out to some of the residents who worked in the recall. We pointed out these things in 2022, and we spoke up. And so we were looking for these leaders, to support us in that process. That would have been really nice. We had a large coalition of the libertarians who helped out with the recall. Are one of they on the list that you reached out to? We had groups of independents. Are they on that list? We had a group of Republicans. Are they on that list? And we had a large group of Democrats too. Are they on that list? I would just like to see any one of the people who stood on the corner for 7 months in the residents. I would love for you to reach out to them and to hear what they have to say, because we've been saying this for 3 years at this point. So in the survey, the poll that they took, only 9% of those polled, including 15% of black voters and 5% of white voters, rated management of city government positively. And overwhelmingly 88% of the city of New Orleans have rated government management negatively. So 88% of the city of New Orleans, or 88% of the city sample-wide 600 voters, say that New Orleans is not being managed appropriately, and the depth of the discontent is revealed. So I'm going to go into a couple more of these numbers before I jump off here, because it's really astounding that they didn't listen in 2022. Y'all, we said this. There's nothing new about these numbers. We can go back to the polls that Ed Shervanack did, UNO. The numbers have just grown and gotten deeper. Why? Because nothing has changed. And my 2 cents is these leaders are in government, have worked with government, and know how government works. So you know who does what, and you know who hasn't been doing the work. So anyway, so 2/3 of the city's electorate believes the basic structure of city government needs major changes. In addition, 26% say minor changes are needed, and just 3% say that no change is needed. More black voters, 70%, than white voters, 65%, favor major change. Did y'all hear that? Yep. So in line with these high levels of public dissatisfaction, 80% of voters, 81% of blacks, and 78% of whites say that the basic structure of sewage and water board needs major changes. 15% favor minor change and only 2% say no change is needed. So y'all, who runs sewage and water board again? The mayor. Okay, just pointing to who does what. So my question is, if these leaders know that the mayor runs sewage and water board, why aren't they having this conversation with the mayor? If you've been our city leaders all this time, have these conversations with the mayor. We don't need another poll to tell us that there are issues at sewage and water board. We know it. We're living it. Our water bills show it. I knew somebody who had like a $20,000 water bill. I kid you not. It was ridiculous, y'all. Who's the head of sewage and water board? The mayor. Why are you still having polls? Go talk to her. Like, I just don't understand. I really don't understand that. The residents have said this, like, you are supposed to be our representatives. At what point do we bring it to the feet of who needs to hear it? A paltry 15% of city residents polled say they're getting their money worth in exchange for the tax dollars they pay in New Orleans. An overwhelming 83% say they're not. Big majorities of all demographics groups agree on this matter. Interestingly enough, only 10% of voters think local and state entities in the criminal justice fields are doing a good job, coordinating their efforts to reduce crime. Did y'all know that the mayor's office is actually responsible for coordinating the activities in the judicial activities for the city of New Orleans? The mayor is responsible for coordinating the judicial functions in the city of New Orleans. That means it's in the charter, y'all. It's in the charter. Don't hate me, hate the charter. So if you think these public assessments are rough, consider the 90% or more voters negatively rate city government's handling of each of the following issues: drainage and water systems, homelessness, street repair, maintenance of sidewalks, removing blight, abandoned buildings, and stopping political corruption. Who is responsible for all of those things? The mayor. So why aren't they bringing it to the mayor? I think we know. I mean, I'm not going to read the whole article, but I think we know why they don't bring it to the mayor, because the mayor retaliates. It's really as simple as that. They don't bring it to the mayor because the mayor retaliates. And we saw that in 2022. The residents, who were the mayor's boss, said, hey, mayor, we have a list of issues that have not been focused on in years, to the point where people want to remove you from office, because it's not a new conversation, y'all. These are not new conversations. They just simply ignore us. That's the point. They just ignore us. They act like we didn't say any of this. They act like we didn't do any of this. And this is like a brand new idea that just came out in 2025. What? Are you serious? Y'all, we not going for the okie doke. So with that being said, the upcoming city elections are critical. Voters, civic leaders, community groups, and candidates together must take responsibility for finding a path forward. The election needs to be a forum of robust discussion. Yes, it does. The outcome must restore public confidence and in a city government that will be up to task of making New Orleans better and stronger. So that is on NOLA.com. If you want to read the whole thing and you want to, see all of the numbers in the poll, you can go there to do it. So with that being said, I wanted to put that on your mind. I wanted you to understand what is going on in New Orleans. That's what Faith in Politics is all about. It is to give you the information so that you can feel empowered and that you can go out and make change in your community, whether it be if you work in education, whether it be if you work in finance, whether it be if you work in economic development, if you work in the library system, wherever you are, if you work in public safety, wherever you are, if you know who does what and who's responsible for what, you can help us move New Orleans forward, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take each and every one of us speaking up for each other and action. We can't just sit around on our hands and say stuff. we have to have some action. And so we spoke up in 22, and we're encouraging everyone again to speak up in your spheres of influence. New Orleans likes to say, if you see something, say something. And yes, if you see something, say something. It's not just about, public safety with regard to weapons. What if the weapon is power? And so if you see power being misused, we encourage you to see something and say something, because if we never say something, then we're not going to change anything in the city of New Orleans. And now is the time. We have their ear. They need our votes. And we're going to speak up, and we're going to get some change from New Orleans. So that's what Faith in Politics is all about. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you share it, because I believe this is some information that a lot of people need. And if you couldn't stay on for the whole broadcast, make sure that you listen everywhere that you podcast, YouTube, Apple, iHeart, Spotify. We are on most of your podcasting platforms, as well as live right now on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. So thanks so much for tuning in, y'all. And if you would like to join and get our blast, we do weekly blast on Tuesdays, and we send out the information for the week. So you'll know about what's going on in the week, what we're going to be talking about. And on Wednesdays, we have a meetup. Right now, they're Wednesdays on Zoom. So you just hit the little button, and then you're tapped in. It's from 2 to 3 people to like 10 to whatever. And we're really just trying to have conversations. I'm trying to meet you where you are, to understand what your concerns are, or if you're having an issue in your neighborhood. So maybe we can connect some dots and we can create some solutions for you, because that's what this is all about. And on Thursdays, we have a power hour of prayer from 7 to 8. If you didn't know, I'm a Christian. I walk with the Lord, and this is very important to me, and I believe prayer changes things, and where 2 or more are gathered, the Lord is in our presence. And so we can really do things when we pray for our city. So I invite you to do that with us on Thursday as well. All of this information is going to be in that newsletter that blasts every Tuesday. And last but not least, Solution Saturdays. Y'all, it is so exciting. I sent out a text message, and it gives you information, and it sends a link. The first one asked you to take your time and to scan the city this week, and to come up with some solutions that you think would be good in your neighborhood, in your city. And on this Saturday, we'll be sending you a link so that you can type in your solutions, your questions, or whatever you have with regard to how to make New Orleans better. If we don't ask our residents, then what are we doing? Because we're the ones living here. Personally, I think it's just a travesty that you can't have like an EMS worker and a firefighter get married and afford a comfortable living in New Orleans. And if that's not possible, then what are we doing it for? What are we doing it for? These are the people who take care of us, and they can't even, afford a living in our own city. So what are we doing it for? And a lot of us are having that problem. We cannot afford to live in the city. And so we need some better representation who will speak up for us. And so let's do that. So again, if you'd like to join, text join in your email. Text the word join in your email to 504-399-4380. That is 504-399-4380. For example, you would text join and faithinpoliticstoday@gmail.com. That's my email. faithinpoliticstoday@gmail.com. So you do join in your email, and you would text it to 504-399-4380. Thanks so much, y'all, for tuning in. I appreciate all the support and all the messages and all the DMs. It has definitely been a ride. I'm not going anywhere, and I will continue to speak up for the residents and the city of New Orleans and for our children. Our children have gotten lost in the shuffle over these past years, and it's a travesty, in my opinion. And our children are the future. Our children are going to be taking over the city. And so we need to teach our children how the city runs so that they can navigate better, and they don't have they don't have to live like this. Y'all, just example, our trash pickup, we down to 1 day. Did y'all vote on that? Did y'all have a say on that? You didn't. So we need to choose better leaders who will listen to us when we have issues going on in the city. So that's what Faith in Politics is all about. We want to build some faith in politics and get our residents re-engaged in voting and making it to the polls so that our voices can be heard. So thanks so much for tuning in, and just stay connected, y'all. I want to hear from you. See y'all later. Bye.